Hey YouTube, welcome back to Clutch Situation. It is summer, and you know what that means on the channel. It is time for me to update my top 10 list. And the top 10 list has changed dramatically over the time that I've been on YouTube. I started regularly posting videos on YouTube, I want to say around 2015, so I've had an account for longer than that, but I didn't really start posting to the channel until around 2015, and in that time my top 10 list has changed dramatically. And since I've decided to do yearly updates of my top 10 list, I felt like I owe you viewers as much information as possible, being explicit as I possibly can be, about what my criteria are that determines my top 10 mechanical pencils. Because to me, this is not a cut and dried rating things on a numerical scale and then making a decision. There are a lot of factors that go into what I like about mechanical pencils, and I think the more that I speak to what speaks to me, so to speak, the better opportunity viewers of the channel will have to make informed decisions, because that should be an overall goal of what we're doing here. I mean, yeah, it's great to explore a hobby together, don't get me wrong, but I think that a lot of people come to these videos because they're maybe interested in purchasing a product, want to know a little bit more about it. I mean, that's one of the main ways that I use YouTube. I use YouTube when I'm interested in potentially purchasing something, but I want to make sure that I make an informed decision and I'm not disappointed. And so I think that that's one of the great aspects of what YouTube has done to kind of change our world. I mean, I was born in the late 70s. I turned 41 this year. And so the world is a very different place than it was when I was a kid. If you wanted to purchase a product, a lot of the times you just couldn't purchase a product, because especially if, like me, when I was growing up, you lived in a small town, the internet wasn't a thing yet. You couldn't order things online. And so this is one of the main benefits we get from being able to watch these videos, is checking out products before you want to purchase them. Now, the tricky things with mechanical pencils, and arguably even EDC, everyday carry, is that you can watch something and hear insights about something all you want, but frequently until you get it into your hand, you don't quite know. And so that's why in my last video, I sort of did some soul searching and realized that when I was talking about weighting of pencils, it wasn't really the raw weight so much that was important to me as to the balance of the pencil. And as I've continued to think about this over the last year, what I found is that that weighting specifically towards the tip for me is more comfortable in my hand than a pencil that is more spread out across the entire pencil. And so for some of you that might make a difference. For me, it makes a difference. And so if you notice at the top of the list up there where it says evolution of criteria, one of the two things that are on that list is I tried to throw down some of the old criteria that I use for these top 10 lists, and I'm adding a new one that has been suggested multiple times, well, in the form of questions on the channel over the last year, and that is, many viewers have asked the simple question, well, how often do you really see yourself using these pencils? And that's a great question, because I sort of find that there are specific pencils on this list that I am drawn to and use on a daily basis for a variety of reasons, and in some cases that's pretty much the reason why they're on the top 10 list for me. It's not necessarily because in terms of their features or their quality or their construction or any of the other things that you see on this list, there's anything inherently better about those pencils that is causing me to include them on the top 10. And so there's going to be a shakeup on this top 10 list as I consider all of these criteria. And so we have last year's criteria. Not all of these were mentioned explicitly, but I think that they were pretty heavily implied in my June 2017 video, which you can check out. And the big one that I'm adding this year is frequency of use. I think frequency of use has always been part of my top 10 list, but as I'm trying to explicitly state what matters to me and refine for the viewer, well, how the heck is he making this judgment? I think those are fair questions, and frequency of use is going to be like the main thing. And so I'm not going to read to you. You can read the list, but what I am going to do here is I am going to show you which pencils are leaving the top 10 list and which pencils are going to be remained. There's potentially going to be a reordering or a revisioning that is happening here at the top 10 list based upon what my criteria are. And if you're new to the channel, if you were drawn here because the algorithm was top 10 mechanical pencils, or maybe you typed in best mechanical pencils in Google and came across this video, if you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Please consider liking and subscribing, of course. But more so, if you want to see how this has changed over time, I highly recommend that you go back and look at my June 2017 top 10 list. I have a February 2017 top 10 list. I did two last year because as I was discovering more and more mechanical pencils due to recommendations and my own research, I really found some mechanical pencils that I really value. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. What are we removing from the list? Well, one is being removed from the list simply because the list is going to be stretched out a little bit and there isn't space for it. Plus, I also don't find myself using this pencil as much as the other pencils on the list. And those are, pick your poison. These are great pencils. Zebra Delgard is going to fall off of the top 10. Now, folks, if I remove something from my top 10, that doesn't mean that they're a bad product or not worth you checking out. For me, the reason why Zebra Delgard was on the top 10 list to begin with is because it has this really interesting mechanism that protects your lead. And so if you have a really heavy hand and break lead a lot, you should definitely check out the Zebra Delgard series. It comes in a wide variety of different flavors. I haven't seen well, actually, no, that's not correct. I have seen the Zebra Delgard still being sold at Walgreens. So if access is an issue for you, check out Walgreens. You can get a vanilla or classic Zebra Delgard at Walgreens for a reasonable price. But notice on this list there were two other pencils, the LX and the ER. The LX is kind of a tank. It's a solid metal pencil. Part of the reason why Zebra Delgard, I'm not crazy about keeping it on the list is because of the overall weighting of the LX. The LX is a pencil that the weight is spread across the entire body of the pencil, which is something that I don't value as much. The ER is a really interesting eraser mechanism. The Zebra Delgard ER has the same lead delivery and protection mechanism of the Zebra Delgard Vanilla, but the ER has this interesting little feature where you can tip the pencil backwards and forwards, and that will cause the eraser to come out. So, check out the Zebra Delgard. It's falling off of the top 10 list, but I just wanted to mention that. The one that I'm purposely removing from the top 10 list due to ease of use is the Retro 51 Hexamatic. I'm a big Retro 51 fan, don't get me wrong. What the Retro 51 Hexamatic does that a lot of drafting style pencils don't do is that it has a retractable sleeve, but anybody who's familiar with investigating mechanical pencils, one of the big downsides of retractable sleeves is that can cause a little bit of tip wobble, which is a problem for a lot of people. I also have my concerns about the mechanism for the Retro 51 Hexamatic. It seems to be a little slippery to me in that I've gotten a lot of lead slippage, like the lead going back up into the body of the pencil when it shouldn't with the Retro 51 Hexamatic. And so given that I don't use this pencil as often as other pencils that have appeared on the list, I feel pretty comfortable removing it from the top 10 list. Once again, doesn't mean that it's a bad product. Okay, I'd recommend that you check it out, but I'm going to be honest with you, I think that we have a lot of value on this list, especially for drafting style pencils, and if you're a follower of the channel, you know that there's a particular pencil that is kind of my product of 2017, 2018 that's going to be added to the top 10 list, that I think that you would be far better served purchasing this pencil over the Retro 51 Hexamatic. And so, honestly, the top 10 list has outgrown the Retro 51 Hexamatic, but if I'm serious about exploring mechanical pencils and what works for me and what doesn't work for me, I got to be prepared to remove stuff from the list. Okay? So with those things crossed out, we're going to have a little bit of reordering of things and expanding of things, and I want to try to give new viewers a justification as to why these things are on the top 10 list. So pardon the camera shake if it happens. Okay, I'm going to try to display the old list and the new list simultaneously on the page. Yes! Okay, I did it. I'm trying a new camera setup. as well here, folks. My camera is now more directly under the light for the room, and I have all my other lights shining on here. So let me know in the comments if you feel like the lighting of the video is a little bit better. Other plans that I have for that is to honestly get a light box to see if I can get some more light reflecting back into the frame. But let me know if you think that this is better, about the same. You know, I read your feedback. That doesn't mean that I appreciate aggressive feedback. So, you know, if you can find in your heart of hearts a polite way to give constructive feedback about my lighting scheme, I'm all ears. Okay, so keep that in mind. Once again, I'm going to start at the bottom with number 10, and with the Zebra Delgard dropping off, our number 10 becomes this pencil, the Platinum Zero Shin. And I can just hear the Statler fans in the audience, because this pencil is also branded in some markets as the Statler Integrity, but it's effectively the same pencil. And I can hear the Statler fans in the audience screaming, "Why don't you have the Statler 92525 on the list, you monster?" And don't get me wrong, the Statler 92525 is a fantastic pencil. And I'm going to be reviewing the entire Statler 925 line sometime during the summer. And I've been working on research on that. I have a brand spanking new limited edition Statler 925 coming up on the channel that I'll be excited to share in that video, so stay tuned for that. This was a huge surprise for me. It was like an auto purchase for me, so look out for that. So why does this pencil make the top 10, but the Statler 925 does not? 92525 specifically, the classic Statler drafting pencil. Well, folks, to some extent, it's largely about redundancy. There are a ton of drafting style pencils on this list. Okay, if one could argue that I have a bias, my bias is towards drafting style pencils. Now, there are a lot of other pencils on this list that are not explicitly drafting style pencils. You can argue that this is more of a writing style pencil. And I keep including the Platinum Zero Shin and the Statler Integrity, two names for the same pencil, on this list exactly because it adds variety to the list, and I find myself using this pencil over and over and over again, because as an everyday workaday sort of workhorse pencil, this comfortable rubberized grip here that has these rubber nibs on it, the conical lead sleeve, more suitable for writing than a drafting lead sleeve sometimes, strong pocket clip, a little twist up eraser. This pencil is packed with features. It's pretty good quality for the price. I have difficulties talking and writing at the same time, so I'm going to pause and just write a little bit. There we go. Statler Integrity. I think it deserves a place on the list because I think that this is a pencil that anybody out there could feel confident in making a purchase decision for it. You can get them on JetPens, for example. They may even be available on Amazon now. Pretty cheap. You know, I think that they're around the $10 range. And so if you're looking for a much higher quality mechanical pencil that's going to last you for a while, Platinum Zero Shin is one of my go-tos. And so that's part of the reason why it is still on the list. Moving on, because, you know, I don't want this video to go on forever. Number 9 on the list is one of my personal aesthetic favorites, the Retro 51 Tornado pencil. I have a Retro 51 that I'm excited to target for purchase this year, and that they just came out with a, I think they call it the Dmitri version. And Dmitri, of course, in that case is a reference to Dmitri Mendeleev, comrades, a Russian chemist who worked at University of St. Petersburg in Russia and was one of the individuals who really did the early publishing work for a periodic table. And so there's a periodic table pencil that is available basically for the Retro 51 Tornado. This Retro 51 Tornado that I'm showcasing in this video, which last video I showed one of my Farney's exclusives, which they have Washington, D.C. Cherry Blossom Pencil Festival pencils. And they had just came out with a really attractive mint green kind of, I guess you would call it, variety. Well, this I also purchased at Farney's in Washington, D.C. when I was there for a conference, and this is the Signatures 2 collection, where all the signers of the Declaration of Independence are on this pencil. Really attractive looking. If you need to be in a more like classy business setting, Retro 51 pencils are really great for showcasing what you have. And so they always say Retro 1951 on the side. This one explicitly says Farney's. I don't know if I'll be able to get that to focus on the barrel right there, because this was obtained at Farney's in Washington, D.C. This is just an overall great pencil, not only for the aesthetics, but it has 0.9 millimeter lead. Actually, hold on. Scratch that. Let's just look at the container real quick. I think it might be 1.1. And so, you know, we want to be accurate. It's 1.15. It is kind of proprietary lead, but Retro 51 pencils come with plenty of lead, and it's really easy to order it. And so it's kind of a unique lead size in that regard. 1.15 millimeter, by the way, is very close to some classic thicknesses of mechanical pencil leads that have existed in the history of twist mechanical pencils. So we're going to add the Retro 51 Tornado pencil. I also like Retro 51 pens as well. I have a couple of them. The crown jewel of my collection for Retro 51 pens is the Apollo series, where it has imagery from the Apollo 11 moon landing, because I'm a space science teacher. And so there you go, number 9 on our list, Retro 51 Tornado pencil. A little bit more expensive. They're in the $40 to $60 range, but you know, they're collector's items, and they're really high quality collector's item from an American-made company. And so if it matters for you to buy local, that would be an example of a local store or a local manufacturer in terms of country Retro 51. And for our overseas viewers, you know, I don't know what the sort of availability is for you, but I'm sure that you could obtain them as well. All right, moving right along, number 8. We have the Tombow Monograph Zero. Tombow makes a monograph, which is basically an entirely plastic body pencil, which I don't like it as much because it has a plastic, very flimsy pocket clip. The Monograph Zero basically has everything that the monograph has, only much, much better construction. And so it has a knurled grip. So for the drafting pencil crowd, this is sort of, if you're looking for something more weighted to the tip like I am, this is a pencil that you would want to go for. So Tombow Monograph Zero, twist up eraser. Tombow makes really good erasers. Okay, they're mono eraser, and you get a tiny little mono eraser, which can be good for really fine detail work. So if you're an artist who likes using drafting pencils and you're looking for a finer eraser for detail work, this could be a pencil that could be useful for you. Tombow Monograph Zero comes in now in a wide variety of different colors, so you can check that out. Okay, pretty reasonably priced. I think, once again, the $10 range, somewhere around there. Actually, you know what? Actually less on jet pens. I think jet pens might sell Monograph Zeros around the $7, $8 range. So very sturdy pocket clip. Okay, check it out. Great pencil. Next. Well, if you're a viewer of the channel, you know that I'm pretty smitten with the P200 series by Pentel. Classic mechanical pencil that debuted in 1971. I want to say. Actually, the Carry is since 1971, and so the Pentel P200 series might even be a little older than that. I pulled 2 P200 series pencils, that one that I most recently received, this sort of antique finish, okay, and then the marbled series I find myself using over and over again because it's very attractive. I love the P200 series because they always put out a variety of limited editions about every 2 to 3 years that can sometimes take a while to obtain. I have been watching this antiqued version of the Pentel P200 series for over a year before I finally got the opportunity to order it from South Korea. And so you may be asking yourself, why this pencil? I mean, it just looks like a plastic pencil. Well, this pencil has a history. It has a great mechanism, solid Pentel mechanism. When a lot of people think of a drafting pencil, they think first of the P200 series. It was featured in a recent movie It was featured in Hidden Figures. She's using a Pentel P209, so if you go back and watch the main character in the movie, she's rocking a P200 series pencil, which, fun fact, was not yet available at the time of the when the story takes place, and so that is a little bit of a continuity error that only mechanical pencil fans would understand. But Pentel P200 series, in terms of frequency of use, I use a Pentel P200 series pencil 4 times per week, I would say. Like, I'll try to mix it up on one day and maybe use another one of my pencils, but 4 out of every 5 days of the week I'm using the P200 series. And despite the fact that it's just a hard, pseudo-knurled grip, I still find this really comfortable in my hand. So Pentel P200 series, check it out. If you want an upgrade, though, over the Pentel P200 series, and this, I place it above the Pentel P200 series because it is definitely an upgrade, that would be the Pentel Graph 1000 for Pro, which comes in a variety of limited editions, and I have my limited edition right here. This is the 70 Years pencil from Japan in a brilliant gold. This pencil has been loved while my dog has chewed on it a little bit, and so, you know, not much that I can do about it. It basically just makes it my own. But I find the balance of this pencil, the overall weight of this pencil, the grip, the fact that it has that solid Pentel mechanism, you add a lead hardness indicator up here on the top, very strong pocket clip. This is just a great overall pencil. And so Pentel Graph 1000 for Pro, this is a limited edition, but it comes in every lead size in black. It also comes in a wide variety of other colors, such as pastels and black, I think, with primary colors. There's a variety of limited editions for that as well. And so from a collector's perspective, that just makes collecting these pencils a lot of fun as well. Continuing right along, Pentel Sharp Carry since 1971. This is an example if you're looking for something classy like the Retro 51, but you don't want to spend as much money, the Pentel Sharp Carry is for you because it has this classic like 1960s ballpoint pen style where it's a capped pen, but it's a pencil. And so Pentel Sharp Carry, mine here is the olive green version. I've been very excited and looking into the possibilities. They have a purple limited edition. They have an orange limited edition that is very difficult to come by, but that's one of my collecting goals moving forward. The Pentel Sharp Carry, in addition to being a really good looking piece for a relatively cheap price, I mean, these are now down to less than $10 on Amazon, but you can order a lot of the limited editions on a variety of websites, including Tokyo Pen Shop and Jet Pens. And so you can use the pencil with the cap on, you can use the pencil with the cap off, has a reliable Pentel mechanism. Basically, whatever you want to do with it, you can still advance the lead with the cap on. Strong pocket clip, completely pocket safe. Just an overall great value buy for a mechanical pencil that maybe you need something a little bit more classy, but you don't want for your office environment or something, but you don't want to spend the Retro 51 prices. Pentel Sharp Carry is the one for you. Number 4. Well, this is where things are going to get a little bit different from where they were in the past. I have 2 pencils. I do this thing where sometimes I have 2 pencils located in one location. We have the Rotring 800 and the Rotring 600 Newton pretty much on even footing. I may end up putting the Rotring 600 above Newton, above the Rotring 800 if I ever get my hands on a lava version, where it's sort of like a gray and white bespeckled, like sort of igneous rock, hence the name lava variation of this. Mine is just the classic silver series, which you'll note does not have any knurling, which is probably the only Achilles heel of this pencil. If this were knurled like the Rotring 600 is, I would be using this pencil a lot more, which is why it's down by number 4. And then the Rotring 800, we know that we have some tip wobble problems, and there are ways that you can fix it, but the tip wobble issues and the knurling issue on the Rotring 600 is why they don't appear higher on the list, but they are definitely spectacular pencils. And in addition to being a bit of a Pentel fanboy, many of you know that I'm also a bit of a Rotring fanboy. And so here at number 4, we're going to share this with the Rotring 800. If you're looking for a retractable pencil, okay, the prices have really come down for the Rotring 800, and so that's part of the reason why I feel confident keeping it on the list, because if it were its original MSRP, I may not feel as good about keeping it on the list. but I think that its value is increasing. Rotring 600 Newton is a collector's item. You got to get them off eBay. They can run into the $100, $150 range. Rotring Newton 600 Lava is going to get you up in the $300, $400, even $500 range. And so if you're looking for a collector's item, the Rotring Newton Lava would be something for you to check out. Of course, that is way outside my price range. And so, I'm hoping to steal an auction sometime in the future. But moving right along, a new number 3, and it's probably not going to surprise anybody in the audience. We have the Platinum Pro Use 171. This is basically a Retro 51 hexamatic killer right here. With this pencil out on the market, I find it difficult for Retro 51 hexamatic to make the top 10 list, given its minor flaws. But I discovered this pencil thanks to a viewer of the channel not too long ago, and watch my video because I'm in deep smit. This one is really unique in that, unlike a lot of retractable sleeve pencils, which the purpose of a retractable sleeve is to keep your pencil pocket safe, well, rather than the sleeve moving and risking tip wobble, the actual cone of the mechanical pencil moves, covering the lead sleeve. And so you don't get any of the tip wobble problems. Now, this pencil does also have an additional feature that people might appreciate, which is that you can rotate the body of the pencil so that you have either a lead cushioning feature, or if you rotate in the opposite way, it has a non-moving lead. And so feature-rich, high quality, reasonably priced, $19 a piece, but I think that price is going to come down over time. But if you're looking for a new pencil for your collection, Platinum Pro Use 171, you basically can't go wrong. Number 3. Okay, so now we're getting into the top of the top. What do I recommend? I recommend this, but I'm going to recommend specifically from last time. For me personally, this is a spoke 4 mechanical pencil. Designed by Brian Conti. He did a Kickstarter for spoke mechanical pencils and has continually updated his pencils over time. These are highly customizable in terms of how they're machined and grip thickness, which is a great feature of it. I'm putting spoke 4, spoke 4 mechanical pencil, specifically for me, the titanium grip version is the one that I'm going to recommend because I like it a little bit more weighted towards the tip. You can also get the grip of the pencil in aluminum, which is a little bit less heavy. And so if you want the pencil to have more of an overall lighter and uniform feel, go with aluminum. You can also get it in brass, which would be a much denser metal, that if you want an even heavier tip, go with that. But for me personally, spoke 4 and titanium is the way to go. So this is a titanium grip. You can get the upper section in blue or red or black or gray. And I also have another version of the spoke pencil, which is black and red, which is my school colors. And so I really appreciate that customization and my ability to do those sorts of changes. This one is in 0.5. This uses a Pentel P200 series mechanism. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you get all the value of the Pentel P200 series, but you get it in a tank of a mechanical pencil that's going to last forever. Okay? So I highly recommend the spoke 4 mechanical pencil. That's why it's number 2 on my top 10 list. And speaking of number 1, probably not going to surprise any of you here. Rotring 600 makes the top of my list. It's a tank, great construction, classic mechanical pencil, weighted very well. Has the ability to replace the tip. I've actually had to replace the tip on this one because I did drop it and the tip bent. And the price of the Rotring 600 has greatly fallen as well. You can get Rotring 600s for less than $15, but I would recommend, since you want to make sure you're getting a genuine product for all of these, even if you could order them on Amazon, consider ordering them from a small shop like Jet Pens or Tokyo Pen Shop or Goulet Pens or Anderson Pens or the iPen store on eBay would be another recommendation. Go for a small store so you can support a small store getting the sort of niche products that you can guarantee are going to be actual genuine products, because the cheaper you get something, folks, the more you risk it not being a genuine product. And so there we go. There's our top 10 for June 2018. Hope you enjoyed the video. I do top 10 lists once a year. We got a lot of stuff coming up on the channel. I have some EDC coming up on the channel. I have a leather product that was sent to me, specifically a wallet from Popov Leather, that I'll be excited to share with everybody there. I know that many of you are EDC viewers who come here because you're interested in everyday carry. I will continue to update you on my fountain pen journey. And I have a lot of reviews coming up, including a review of the entire Statler 925 series. And so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Top 10, June 2018.